was pretty much said like Jay doesn't really want awards. Well, he go to the Grammys.
Right.
He you know, come into the Black-owned spaces. Let's figure out how to work together so that way we have the relationship when it matters, not when it's convenient for you and your image. Because they all call us when the story.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
What if the biggest power couple in music isn't just protecting their image, but straight up taking down anyone bold enough to expose their deepest secrets? That question's been whispered around the industry for years, but now it's hitting the courtroom. Jason Lee just dropped a bombshell lawsuit on Jay-Z and Beyonce, and it's not about chasing money anymore, it's about staying alive. Lee claims that ever since he hinted he had dirt on the Carters' past, his whole career has been crushed piece by piece. Sponsors vanished, mystery messages warned him to stay quiet, and one chilling run-in outside a Los Angeles event left him sure someone wanted to silence him for good. Jason's been messy before, sure, but this time, he's not stirring gossip, he's fighting back. Court papers filed in early 2025 detail years of intimidation from what Lee calls a network of power players tied directly to Jay and Bey. Insiders say Lee once bragged about knowing the real story behind Aaliyah, and that's when everything flipped. Suddenly, his posts about the Carters stopped, his tone changed, and according to his lawyers, that's when the threats really started flying.
There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
To really understand why Aaliyah's name still sparks fear today, we gotta rewind all the way to 2001. Official reports claimed her death was just a tragic plane crash, but the details have always sounded way too suspicious. The small twin-engine Cessna 402B was overloaded by almost 700 pounds and went down seconds after takeoff from Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas. The pilot, Luis Morales, wasn't even certified to fly that model. Can you believe that? Toxicology tests later showed traces of illegal substances in his system, and everything about that flight screams sketchy. The weight, the balance, even the paperwork was falsified. Aaliyah's bodyguard, makeup artist, and her whole crew lost their lives in that crash. By 2003, the coroner's inquest wrapped up quietly. Families settled behind closed doors, and those official files sealed tight ever since.
Sweetest person you can know, very intelligent. She knew what she was about and she knew what she wanted to do with her life.
But that official story never sat right with everyone. Aaliyah was only 22, at the height of her fame, and the last weekend of her life was spent around some of hip-hop's biggest power players, Damon Dash, Sean Diddy Combs, and Jay-Z. She had just wrapped filming Rock the Boat, a video that would become iconic, but behind the scenes, something felt off. According to a Bahamian witness who spoke years later, Aaliyah didn't even want to get on that flight. They claimed she was completely exhausted, refused to board, and was eventually carried onto the plane after being sedated with a sleeping pill. That image alone is chilling. And here's the thing, those accounts were never proven false, never challenged in court, just quietly swept under the rug like they never happened.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce.
That same summer, Jay-Z and Aaliyah were spotted together all over the place. Hamptons parties, studio sessions, exclusive industry events, always with Diddy and Damon Dash somewhere nearby. People in the industry swear Jay was obsessed. Damon Dash himself later confessed that both he and Jay were fighting for Aaliyah's attention, like two moguls chasing the same queen. By August 2001, Aaliyah was officially dating Dash, but Jay's crew still lingered around her circle. Then came the crash, and everything shifted overnight. The world mourned publicly, but behind the scenes, quiet whispers began. Insiders claimed the timing of the accident was just too convenient. From the pilot's shady record to the last-minute plane switch and those secret settlement deals, it all painted a picture that now feels hauntingly familiar. That's how real power moves, quiet, controlled, and loaded with money. Every time someone dares to speak, the story gets rewritten, The proof disappears, and another career mysteriously crashes. So when Jason Lee started dropping hints online about having evidence tying Jay-Z to one of the industry's biggest mysteries, boom, he vanished from the spotlight. The same week, he claimed someone powerful told him to stop digging into Aaliyah's files. By early 2025, Lee was talking hacked accounts, wiped contacts, and deals suddenly pulled by streaming services linked to Roc Nation's circle.
And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching, because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know you got people calling me. Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. The way my job works on the internet, everybody's going to be clipping and sharing on TikTok.
Now here we are in 2025, and it feels like the same old playbook is being dusted off again. The intimidation, the sealed files, the sudden hush from big corporations, it's all way too familiar. Just like what happened after Aaliyah's crash, everything suspicious is getting swept under fancy rugs. Jason Lee's lawsuit lays out a wild pattern: retaliation, frozen accounts, smear campaigns, and even a tense face-off in Miami. He claims that after he announced his tell-all documentary, a man tied to a Roc Nation security team cornered him outside a hotel and warned him to stop mentioning old names. That's not just intimidation, that's a straight-up message. The paperwork calls it harassment, but those close to Lee say it felt like a threat meant to shut him down for good. But the bigger question isn't whether Lee's story checks out, it's why everyone's so scared to even question the Carters. Every few years, new whispers pop up about what they've seen, who they've protected, and how far they'll go to bury the stories that could destroy everything. One former insider described it perfectly: a system of silence that's been running since the late 90s, and the same names keep popping up: Jay-Z, Beyonce, Diddy. Only now, the stakes are higher than ever. With Diddy locked up on federal charges tied to trafficking and coercion, the heat's shifting back to Jay-Z, who's just been added to a civil case accusing him of an assault allegedly committed after the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards.
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc.
The timing right now is just too wild to ignore. Diddy's empire crumbled after years of secret payouts and NDA deals, and now Jay-Z is getting hit with accusations from that same era, involving the same people and even the same lawyer representing several accusers. It's almost like history is looping back around, and Jason Lee's lawsuit doesn't look like gossip anymore. It's starting to feel like the next domino ready to drop. His court documents mention a stash of confidential info that allegedly connects major industry players across 20 years of entertainment scandals. He hasn't released proof to the public yet, but insiders close to him swear he's sitting on something massive. People who once laughed him off as just a loudmouth clout chaser are suddenly whispering that he might have uncovered something dangerous. Some say it traces back to those sealed files from the early 2000s related to Aaliyah's wrongful death cases. Others think it involves internal emails between record labels that managed both Aaliyah's and Beyonce's early careers. Either way, whatever this is, it's big enough that several legal teams have already rushed to block access to evidence, using national security and privacy claims. And seriously, since when does national security apply to a pop star's lawsuit?
A blistering statement. Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away."
As of this month, Jay-Z's team is standing firm, calling every one of Jason Lee's claims baseless and labeling him a desperate opportunist chasing clout in the chaos surrounding Diddy's downfall. But doesn't that sound a little too familiar? We've heard this exact play before. After Aaliyah's crash, after the Michael Jackson allegations, after Left Eye's mysterious accident in Honduras. Each time, the pattern repeats. Files get sealed, footage disappears, and the industry just shrugs it off like nothing happened. It's the same old cycle of silence. Power protects itself, and the truth gets buried deep.
Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
But this time, something feels different. The lawsuit's out in the open. The details are flying across the internet, and Jason Lee isn't backing off, not one bit. Sources close to him say he's already made backup copies of key evidence and handed them to his lawyers, just in case anything mysterious happens. That's how serious it's gotten. According to one insider, those files might link the same group of producers and execs who were around during Aaliyah's final week to the current accusations circling Jay-Z. If that connection turns out to be real, and that's still a big if, it would mean the empire built to protect the Carters has cracks running deeper than anyone dared to believe. So now the question everyone's thinking but no one's asking out loud is this: what exactly did Jason Lee uncover that made him too dangerous to silence quietly?
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
Here's how the game really works. When someone dares to mess with the image of the so-called untouchables, the first move isn't violence, it's silence. NDAs, hush money deals, and sealed court files that never see the light of day. This isn't new. The industry mastered that playbook long before Jason Lee filed his lawsuit. They learned it from watching Sean Diddy Combs, who ended up serving more than 4 years in federal prison and paying a $500,000 fine, while the judge straight up called his actions subjugation. But even with that verdict, the system that protected him stayed solid. Every witness who spoke out faced denial, threats, and top-tier legal intimidation. And if that's the kind of protection Diddy had, imagine what Jay-Z and Beyonce can pull off with a billion-dollar empire and a wall of lawyers that could rival a government agency. And now, that same machinery seems to be kicking into gear again. Insiders say once Jason Lee's filings hit the courts, a flood of cease and desist letters started dropping. Contracts got re-evaluated, and trademark deals suddenly vanished, all disguised as routine business. But the message behind it couldn't be clearer: shut up or lose everything. It's the same play Diddy's circle used for years: isolate the accusers, bury the proof, and buy silence with fat consulting checks dressed up as favors. Industry insiders say it's an old game plan, perfected over decades. First come the legal threats, then the character smears, and finally, the quiet erasure. The scariest part? Jason Lee might not even be the only one caught in it. People close to major label execs whisper that others, former managers, assistants, even longtime associates, have faced the same kind of pressure to stay quiet. Some reportedly signed NDAs under fake company names, while others took buyouts that came with one chilling rule: never speak those names again. If that's true, then Jason's lawsuit isn't just one man fighting back. It's the first crack in a system built to silence anyone who knows too much. We've seen this movie before all across the entertainment world. A scandal leaks, a lawsuit hits, and then silence. Careers disappear, statements get retracted, and the media suddenly moves on. But Jason Lee isn't letting this one fade away. His claims of hacked accounts, canceled shows, frozen money, and personal threats have forced everyone to face the real question: how many voices has this powerful network already erased for good?
For Diddy and Jay, inseparable at the they just probably best friends. They probably both grew up in New York. They're New Yorkers. I don't know their relationship. I don't know what business they got going on, but they are really close with one another.
The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Just months after Diddy got sentenced, Jay-Z's legal squad fired back with a countersuit against Jason Lee's team, calling every claim a straight-up fabrication. The move stunned even the most jaded reporters, because if the accusations were really meaningless, why hit back this hard? Why unleash a full-blown corporate legal army just to crush a story they claim is a lie? In Hollywood, when the reaction is this aggressive, it usually means someone's nerve got hit. It's starting to look like the Carters' empire wants to prove its power through fear, suing, silencing, and throwing millions around just to make the noise vanish from the headlines.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
Behind all this courtroom chaos, a darker theory is starting to spread. Some insiders now claim Jason Lee's lawsuit isn't about blackmail at all. It's about exposure. They say his files might contain proof of a deep-rooted system, a powerful network linking artists, execs, and big money players who've all profited from keeping the industry's dirtiest scandals locked away. If that network is real, it explains everything. The sudden panic, the media silence, and the aggressive legal counterpunch. The fear isn't about one man's accusations. It's about what could come spilling out if those sealed documents ever see daylight. We've watched this pattern before. After Aaliyah's tragic crash, quiet settlements. After Diddy's downfall, court-approved silence and victims politely thanked before being forgotten. And now, with Jay-Z facing fresh civil accusations from the early 2000s and Beyonce's billion-dollar brand tied into global corporations, the stakes aren't just personal anymore. They're corporate. Every secret buried isn't just about reputation. It's a calculated business move to keep the empire untouched.
Tonight is a family affair. I saw your mother-in-law so proud of.
Yeah, we're gonna.
But what if that silence finally breaks? Imagine courtroom tapes and depositions exposing how careers were traded away for silence, how artists were erased for speaking the truth, and how one generation mysteriously vanished just to make space for another to rise. That's the nightmare the industry never wanted aired. Jason Lee might have cracked open a door that everyone thought was locked forever, and whether he meant to or not, he's now standing toe-to-toe with an empire built on loyalty, fear, and buried history. But the more they try to shut him down, the louder the whispers get. Anonymous emails start popping up, old insiders reappear, and fans dig up footage from decades ago, pointing out faces and timelines that just don't line up anymore. It's starting to feel like something big is unraveling, a power structure finally cracking under the weight of its own secrets. Because power like this doesn't just live on money and lawyers, it feeds on fear. The circle around Jay-Z and Beyonce isn't just a management team, it's a fortress built on silent obedience and strict loyalty. Former staff and insiders describe a world where access is currency. One wrong move can erase everything. Careers, endorsements, even friendships get measured by how close you are to their influence. And the deeper you look, the blurrier it all gets. Favors aren't given out of kindness. They're traded like weapons for control and leverage. That's the real trick, making sure everyone owes something so nobody can ever walk away clean. But what happens when that fear finally fades? When the people they've silenced decide they've got nothing left to lose? Because history proves it. Every empire eventually collapses, not from an outside hit, but from the inside. All it takes is one disillusioned assistant, one producer who kept the receipts, or one friend who saw too much and decides to talk. Any of them could be the spark that burns the whole thing down. Now the power structure is starting to shake, and those who once swore loyalty are quietly rethinking their place. They're asking themselves, does standing next to power still mean protection, or is it just painting a target on their backs?
And we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
If Jason Lee's lawsuit pushes even one insider to finally speak, the whole system could crumble from the inside out. And if that happens, no amount of fame, awards, or charity work will be enough to shield that empire from the heat of real scrutiny. The question hanging over the music world right now is cold and simple. How many more Jason Lees are out there, sitting on secrets and waiting for the right time to speak? Because if what he's saying holds weight, this isn't just another lawsuit. It's a full-on war for the truth, fought in boardrooms, studios, and backrooms where a single signature could end someone's career forever. And remember, in battles like this, the first person to speak is always the first one to bleed. So what happens when that person refuses to back down? Do you think Jason Lee's exposing the truth, or is he poking at powers too big to handle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next one.